I had the opportunity to go to IKEA and I had an amazing time, not shopping, but taking photos. So in this video, I take you through the photos I took and discussing what I liked about them, as well as doing a few minor edits on everything. So this first one here is in the parking lot before we got to IKEA, obviously. And you can see what I like about this are the row of cars leading through and how they lead your eye to the building of IKEA in the background. And then also we have these flares of the lights that create this triangle shape and sort of guide you back to the right side of the picture, creating this circular effect. So for this, I'm going to apply some auto adjustment and then dehaze a little bit to bring out some of the color. And then on the top left, I'm not so happy with all that blue, so let's go make a mask and try to lessen that effect by adding some yellow color. And maybe even dehaze that itself a little bit. I don't know why they have a different location for dehaze in the mask, but whatever. So here we have like this, and then maybe also just auto color to make it a little more yellowy and get rid of the purple magenta haze. The next picture was the IKEA sign. So this was obviously not cropped well, so I want to bring that in so it makes more of the main focus. And actually I want to get rid of this blue sign on the bottom right, so I'll just crop it a little bit like this and then maybe center a little bit more. So now these are the main subjects. We have the main pillar with IKEA over here, and this is a supplementary one adding some support on the side. Again, I want to dehaze this to bring up some of get some of the darks of the background. Maybe we'll bring down the blacks and the shadows as well, and maybe even a little bit of the highlight, something like this. Let's see if I auto color change anything. Not too yellow, so I like it. We'll just keep it like this. All these pictures were shot on my Pixel 6a smartphone, so it's not the same type of resolution as if I were shooting with my DSLR, but I do find it an amazingly convenient camera to carry around, and it gets, I think, some pretty good shots. Like any tool, you have to know its pluses and minuses and know when the best opportunities are to use it. This picture of the entrance of IKEA, I really like. The building takes up is such a bold structure here, and this person adds a little bit of size and context for the rest of the picture. I don't have too many pictures of people in my photos of an IKEA, but I thought here it works out. It's not so distracting, and as I said before, it gives that context. So let's just bring up the sky a little bit to make it match the brightness that we have in the bottom of the scene. And then if I maybe just increase the brightness in general, like this, and then dehaze to try to make the shadows a little bit darker. Let's see the before and after. Okay, and I think I want to crop in also. There's a little bit too much space on the left over here. So when you enter IKEA, you're greeted by this escalator that brings you up to the second floor. And from there, you start on a long journey meandering through the entire store from the second floor down to the first floor to the exit. I was moving fairly quickly, but I still found a lot of opportunities to get some great pictures. This one here, I particularly like the way how we have these primary colors, the yellows, the reds, and the blues inside these squares. And then besides the squares, we also have some circles. And then, of course, this escalator is providing a very nice diagonal line going on here, which leads the eye up into the scene. And the eye is sort of bounded between the escalator over here, and then we have these larger shapes over here. So I did not take the escalator, I took the stairs. As you can see, I'm standing on the stairs and now facing the other side of the second floor. And there's all these nice geometric shapes, and the railing over here is again the diagonal. And so we have a little bit of contrast between those different shapes, which I like. Maybe I'll just crop in a little bit here, like that. In this shot, what I really like is that I'm shooting with this window panes in the foreground, which creates a really nice sense of depth between the foreground, and then pushes all the furniture elements into the background. We also have this geometric shape. I love geometry, if you haven't noticed. So you have these these nice lines over here, and then the lines from the ceiling at these angles, and then we have this support structure also at these interesting lines and angles. The couch over here, well, let's try maybe crop that out over at the bottom, whatever that is, and move it this way because I do want to retain a little bit of the gap between this lampshade and the edge. So something like this. And if you're enjoying this video, I'm currently working on a book describing my 5-hour experience in the Sarona Park and Market in Tel Aviv, where I describe my experience and my thoughts behind the photos I took. So if you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description. This next shot was a table taken from a top-down view. So this is sort of like a lay flat approach, where I was really intrigued by the circular shape of the table and the different circles of the plates and bowls, cups. And then we also have a lot of these rectangles shapes from the placemats. And then we also have some rectangular shapes on the chairs that are going around. You can see here me at the bottom, those are my legs. So maybe we'll try to crop that out just a bit while retaining everything else. With Photoshop, I suppose we could really do a great job of removing me completely. Also, this area over here, I want to get rid of that red. It's really distracting. So let's do that through maybe like this. Yep, very good. Taking pictures in IKEA can make one quite thirsty, and so I was very happy to find this, to have a chance to take a beer break with this fake beer mug conveniently located as you wander through IKEA. Another shot shooting through a window frame to give this sense of depth. It's not as distant as the previous one because everything here is closer to the camera, but I do like here how we have the lampshades creating an angle and going this way, and the table going in that direction, mirroring the angles that we have of this window frame. This picture I was really excited to find. I love the golden hue of these lampshades and the curl and the gentle arcs that they have, and how that contrasts with the nice bright blue in the background of the scene outside. Now you'll tell me, wait a second, you're there at nighttime. How in the world can this be bright and daylight over here? And so the truth is, this is actually just a image projected, lit up behind this window, this fake window, so it looks like daytime. But it's a very nice effect, and this blue and this orange are these complementary colors, so it really brings out a very nice composition here. I'm just going to remove the little blue that's peeking behind the drapes and see if I can brighten things up a little bit here also. I did explore some other angles of those lampshades. As you see, I'm shooting directly up towards the ceiling here, and on this picture I'm doing a slight 45-degree angle. Neither of them I found so exciting as that first one, but I do want to just point out the idea here and remind people that when taking pictures, it's good to work angles, work around, and try to explore different scenes, different vantage points to see if there's something that comes out better, because you'll be happily surprised sometimes. Going back to the geometry, I was very drawn to these shelving units and how they create all these different shapes here, like particularly here, this right in the middle. I don't know what it's called, but it's a beautiful way of all these lines meet in the center here. And then here we have these angles and lines guiding the eye through the scene. This kitchen scene here was just really beautiful, and I really love the way that we have these dark shapes of these cabinets over here, and the shelving units, and the chairs, and the, I guess, island over here, and how that contrasts with the lighter shapes in the walls and the floor and the ceiling. Also, particularly, there's this nice open negative space here, which lets the eye enter the scene and then travel through on to the background of the picture. Also, I was very particular that when I took this shot, I wanted to have a little bit of a gap at the right edge here, so you can see this space here, so the eye doesn't feel as constricted. So if I were to get rid of that, for example, so now it's like you're barreling right into the picture, and there isn't this time for rest that we had before. Similarly, on the left side, there's also a gap between the left side of the picture and the frame, which also helps give this sense of space and a little bit of a pause before we start going into the picture. So I came around, actually, you'll see here that this cabinet unit was very intriguing to me, so I decided to explore it a little bit more. So I came over here and I was really liked the symmetry and all the geometry that is happening over here. So I tried to capture that. You'll see it's not exactly straight, so let me go and see if I can fix that a little bit. So that is a lot better. However, it is getting mighty close to the edge of the frame over there, so I probably would have preferred if I had a little bit more space to give that breathing room like we saw in the previous one. Going for exploring this angle, going down low and shooting up. This also I felt was a very successful shot where we have these very strong diagonals and then leading lines drawing the eye up the top of the frame. And then also we have these three bottles give a nice sense of variety so that it's not completely symmetrical and makes it a little bit more visually interesting. So we spoke about lay flats earlier. So might be surprised to know that this picture and this picture are lay flats where the items are actually glued to the wall. They're not on a table at all. There's a huge wall, and had a lot of fun trying to find compositions with exploring balance between the different shapes and negative spaces. And this is the two that I came out with. I was a little bit limited also because you'll notice here that there's this shadow, that the way the ceiling lights were illuminating the objects here wasn't so even, and so I had to work around that to try to find compositions that I felt would make the best use of the lighting that I had available to me. But what I can do is I can go and try to use a little bit of a linear mask and brighten up the shadows over here. Something subtle. So it's before and after. And that helps a little bit. This one's going to be a little bit more challenging because it's so huge, but we'll see what we can do here. If I go and brighten everything up a little bit. One thing that does distract me a little bit is the items, this turquoise on the left and then the beam on the top. So the beam I can easily get rid of by cropping over here. I'm cropping on this side and not the other one because I want to retain that space between this shape and the edge of the frame. So there's still that little gap over there. This though I'd have to work out with Photoshop. This picture wasn't as successful in my eyes. I think I was trying to get, I really liked, we have the towels, the shapes of these towels, and then how the lean line of the hooks brings you to the window over here. However, it feels a little bit tight. I feel like there's a little bit cramped, a little more space I would like to have on the side so the eye can feel more at ease. But the way that this room was set up, I didn't have that much opportunity, so that did not happen. This shot I really like because it has such a nice variety and balance of shapes. We have this main light here, which is circular, and it's contrasted with all the angular, rectangular shapes going on here. Like we have this banister over here, and then the beds, the rectangles of the pillows, the beams over here on this wall. We do have some other circles. We have this light in the background over here, and then the shape on the wall behind the headboard. I was particular also, I wanted to leave a little bit of a gap between these beams and the clock and also the edge of the frame, so it felt like there was a little area for the eye to enter over here. The one thing I did do, if you'll notice over here, is this, you see this reading lamp. The reading lamp actually was originally facing towards the bed, which makes a lot of sense if you're in bed and want light. But for my photography, that light was actually causing a little bit of a lens flare. So I went in there and changed it for the picture, and then afterwards I put it back so everyone else could see it as it was supposed to be. I was super excited when I saw these cabinets, and I tried to take a photo that'd be very minimalistic. So I really love the different shapes that we have over here, and sort of this feeling of acceleration in a sense from these long, slower shapes to the quicker, smaller shapes. Now, one thing you'll notice is that I did try to make it very straight and head on, but even if, like you'll see here, like, even though this shape here is perfectly vertical, as you can see here, nonetheless, when I look at this angle, it's not so straight. So I wasn't sure how to really fix that. I tried a number of different angles, and I like this one a lot more. I felt that my second attempt, this bar at the top, sort of distracts from the whole flow, as I said before, here where it goes from like this slow, wide, larger shapes to smaller shapes at the bottom. So I like this one a lot more. Over here, we have like a jungle scene in the kids section, and all these little stuffed animals. It was really, really cute. And so I had a lot of fun trying to get an angle that would represent these little cubs climbing on different branches. And then here we have Attack of the Pandas. There's a really cool shot where I got down low with all these large pandas at the bottom. And then we could see all the small pandas in the cubicles perched all over the place here. It's a really cool shot. This shot, I was actually really taken with the all the geometry and these small shapes on the wall here. The person here was a little bit of distraction from this perspective. So I can go something like this, and maybe that would. Let's just straighten it out on top. These should be straight lines, right? Here we are. And that's a pretty successful shot. I like the arrangement like this. Let's go and brighten up the colors a little bit here. Actually, I wanted to switch to this tool, circular gradient, over here to bring up the shadows a little bit and bring down the blacks maybe. That's pretty cool. This over here, this extension cord or whatever it is, just have to get rid of using Photoshop. This is a different arrangement where I actually include the person sitting at the table, and this one I think also is nice, just as is, like here. Let me just straighten off the top a little bit maybe. I have this feeling of looking at a zebra or something. Like we have these horse shapes in the middle, and then we have all these lines on the edges, and I just get this feeling of zebra. That's just my impression here. And here at the bottom, maybe I will bring down the highlights to balance out with what's on the top. I finally made it down to the first floor, and we're greeted by this lovely panda. Maybe it's a panda theme going on here because we saw them before. These are actually, if you can guess, scented candles, and there's two varieties, and they arranged them in this beautiful panda image, which I thought was so creative. In the kitchen area, I was really taken with the repetition. They actually spent a lot of time making these arrangements on the walls, and it was just interesting how many of the same set they did over and over again. I really liked the repetition, and I wanted to get a picture of this. This was pretty high up on the wall, so I had to stand pretty tall to get this. I think it came up nice, and just brighten it up a little bit to make it a little more open and airy. I think ideally if we had this oven mitt weren't cut off at the edge like that, it might be a little bit better. But otherwise, I'm liking it a lot. And maybe get rid of this red. I can take down the saturation so it won't stand up. Not that it was standing out so much before, but now there's no warm color up there at all anymore. Still in the kitchen area, I was very intrigued with all the reflections going on here. And so I got in very close to this, or the sifter, and look at all the different interesting abstract shapes that were created by the reflections going on here. Black and white seems actually pretty cool. I think I do like the splashes of color that come in and give a little bit of interest as we move through the picture, because we have this little splash of yellow over here and there. It sort of guides the eye through deeper into the picture, and if we get rid of it, So now the eye is being more led by this arc over here, and then like maybe this arc over here. So it's like the direction is going up to down, and when there's color, it's got a little bit of a diagonal going on as well. So I think I like that. But I'd still like to hear in your comments if you prefer the other black and white. Getting in close to the measuring cups, same idea. Exploring all the different interactions between the cups and the layering of all of that. And I'm sure you can tell what this is, maybe. No, this is actually a lampshade. Getting in real close here and exploring the different shapes going on with the darker outside of the lamp and the inside illuminated by the bulb, which I strategically placed right over here. You can see how bright it is right there, and the bulb is right behind it. But I didn't want to be distracting, so I tried to minimize it as much as I could. I go like this, we can really, I'll make it look, I can make it really contrast the darks and the lights. That's actually looking pretty cool. Yeah, I think I'll leave it like that. And we have another lamp over here, shooting from below to the ceiling. Well, doing this dehaze is adding some really cool effect to it, right? It's making it look futuristic. I actually happen to like the fact that we have the lamp towards the top and then these leading lines at the bottom, so it gives a little space and a contrast between the crazy busy circle whirling shape we have on the top and this very calm open area we have at the bottom here. So I think it's a very successful picture. And this, being the last picture, is one of my favorites. It was again shot at the lamp from directly beneath it, and you can see here's the bulb, and each of the blades, or I don't know, part of the lamp shape comes out to make this wonderful fan effect. Thank you for joining me on my photo walk through IKEA and finding all these interesting geometric shapes and other scenes. I hope that you had, I hope it was informative and inspires you to maybe take trips to stores and other places that you might not think of as photographic opportunities and see what you can find. Because the truth is, wherever you go, there's an opportunity to find the extraordinary in the ordinary. Thanks again so much, and if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe and like. I look forward to seeing you in another video.